Hi everyone, Esper here. Today we'll be going through the A12.5 sector and summarizing what we should be doing here. This sector is currently the endgame farming location as of the posting of this video. For starters, this area is unlocked simply by following the storyline. After completing the A12.5 story, there will be a green quest that once accepted will open up the Gatewave NPC. The system here works differently to older sectors. There is no entry limit here, meaning that if you disconnect or run out of resurrects, you can infinitely retry the stages without risk of losing runs. Instead, rewards are collected after you clear the sector. The bottom right of the window shows how many rewards are available for collecting, the red shows the 4-man party run rewards, whereas the blue shows how many solo clear rewards remain. These rewards refresh every day, but the blue only recharges by 3, so the maximum you can hold is 2 days worth of solo runs. 4-man party runs rewards are always the same except for the random box, and should be run every day as it is the only source of the Union Tactics analysis file. This is used to craft the current endgame gear. The boss and type of random box changes every day as shown here. As for the solo runs, the rewards and stages themselves are randomized and can be refreshed for credits. The credit refresh cost is capped out at 1 mil after 10 rolls, so it is fairly affordable. The greatest upside of this area is that you'll be able to acquire certain items that were extremely scarce and expensive prior to this update, such as Gear Booster Fortifiers, Alpha Equalizers, and SS2C gear and costume tuners. However, please be aware that outside of the Chromatic Phase Essence and Sticky Residue, I believe the rest of the items required are untradeable, so only try to go for items that you actually need. In my opinion, the most valuable rewards are 214 Maliks and 1-3 Fortifiers. Other than these, I would consider these items value picks as well. 100 plus Maliks, 10 to 15 Fuels, 1-3 Alpha Equalizers, 4 SS2C Gear Tuners, 5 SS2C Costume Tuners, or 2 real Platinum Drivers. Chromatic Phase Essence and Sticky Residue may be in short supply on the market right now due to everyone crafting gear, so 400 plus Stickies and 100 plus CPE are also worthy pickups depending on your situation. Depending on your finances, you can try going aggressive on refreshes, as it will most likely still be cheaper than buying from the black market. I've seen people go to 100 plus refreshes just for extra forts, so just don't go overboard with your finances. The solo run rewards can also contain the Conquest program key. This is the endgame content at the moment, and the first few floors probably can be tackled at around 35 to 40 mil if you're confident with your gameplay. Just be aware that most of the higher value items noted above will be at difficulty 2 to 3 maps. So that means you can only resurrect once in these maps, so some sectors may be difficult to clear if your character is low on combat power. There's infinite retries though, so there's no risk in attempting it, especially if the reward is good. A quick tip with refreshing, you can use the keyboard to quickly scroll through without having to click on each individual stage. Just refresh, then hit the right arrow key on your keyboard to sift through all the stages. As for gearing, the A12.5 stuff will directly replace the A12 trinkets and mod. This is mostly gated by the Union Tactics analysis file, which is available from the 4-man party run. If you're not gambling on transcends for 100%, it will take 157 for the mod, 78 per trinket to fully transcend. This makes the total 391 files, which translates to about 49 days worth of runs, as you get 8 files per run. Like A12, you have a choice between 4 different mod types here: Speed, Crit, Empowered State, and Rich. In terms of the best mods type, there's only Speed and Crit up for debate. Empowered State is extremely bad, as Phase Force is never an issue, and the Empowered State damage stat line is heavily soft capped. Whereas Rich is more of a luxury item that confers 0 combat stats. The choice between Speed and Crit will largely be up to personal preference and character. Since attack speed is the hardest stat to come by, a speed mod can help you reach the 1.40 to 1.44 attack speed values. This is fairly important for characters like Yunha, Mirai, and Eri, whose animations benefit a lot from attack speed. If you're lost, just simply go Crit, as you can basically never go wrong with it. Crit damage will be a useful stat no matter what. With regards to replacing trinkets or mod first, this is up to you, but it's more or less the same overall. Personally, I'd recommend replacing trinkets first if you already have a decent A12 mod. If you don't have a good A12 mod, then feel free to build the mod first for a quicker power spike. Finally, there are 3 bosses that rotate through the week for the A12.5 party run. They also appear in solo runs as well, at a reduced difficulty level, but retaining the same mechanics. These are Nitocris, Yod, and Kitten. These bosses are Infernal, Irregular, and Wild respectively, so level these PNAs for faster clears. Unfortunately, all these bosses have an annoying gimmick where they start off with extremely high damage reduction and crit damage resistance, so they can be extremely bulky, especially in the 4-man run. For reference, the current Beast King raid only has 50% damage reduction, whilst these bosses can have upwards of 80%. The damage reduction and crit damage resistance are removed upon completing the boss's special mechanic, so I'd recommend ulting during this time to maximize burst damage. If you have stacked party members, it's probably not even necessary to play out the mechanics. Nitocris is probably the most annoying boss out of the 3, as she has several moves that will knock your character down, disregarding any iframe moves, and making it easy to have your big damage moves randomly cancelled, or have several seconds where your character can't naturally move at all. For her mechanic, after about 30 seconds, the battlefield will turn black with text stating, "There is one place, the mirror's blind spot." Nitocris is invulnerable during this time, so just pay attention and move into the blue circle. Once the blue circle closes, your character will be hit with some minor damage, and a Nitocris clone will spawn. Destroy the clone and Nitocris will be stunned. At 50 bars, she'll enter a phase transition and do a map-wide iframe breaking move. You'll need to perfect dodge as the inner circle spreads to the edge, like so. After that, the fight continues as normal until she's defeated. Yod is mostly just a punching bag, as his regular attacks are very non-threatening. Same as Nitocris, after about 30 seconds, Yod will start up his first mechanic. The text will read, "I am soul, yet infinite." He will summon small mini-Yods that can be killed with basic attacks, which is the Z key by default. Each mini-Yod killed will deal about 1 bar of damage to Yod. Depending on your gear and party, you may consider hitting these mini-Yods instead of attacking Yod himself directly. At 50 bars, he'll go through a phase transition. Mini-Yods will no longer spawn after this. Another 30 seconds after the phase transition, he'll start up the second mechanic. Follow the light resting in my eye. This one is simple. He'll show a sequence of colors using red, green, and blue. The order is random for each instance of the mechanic. He'll show the order once without doing anything. After that, he'll display the same sequence again, but adding a map-wide insta-kill explosion after each color is shown. To survive, just stand inside the circle with the matching color. After the sequence is complete, Yod becomes stunned. Kitten is the last boss. His mechanic is a bit more annoying to play, but he does have less damage reduction than the other 2 bosses. As usual, his first mechanic starts around 30 seconds after the fight starts. The 4 radar devices on the map will open, and a red AoE will be placed on top of a random party member. You just need to drop the red AoE on top of all 4 radar devices, and Kitten will become stunned. For this mechanic, you don't even really need to drop it on the 4 radar devices. He'll break automatically after a certain amount of time as long as 1 device was activated. At 50 bars, there'll be a phase transition. After that, a second lightning mechanic will occur. This one is more difficult and can bug sometimes. It's basically the same procedure as before, but the radars need to be activated in order, and you can't miss any lightnings. The radar that needs to receive the lightning is highlighted by an arrow, so if you want to play this mechanic, I'd recommend running to the center after dropping each lightning to see which radar is next. This mechanic is basically impossible to do in a party, so just burst him hard in phase 1 and suck it up for phase 2. And that should be it for A12.5. Thanks for watching.